or you're going to jail.
Ow!
You want to go with your buddy?
No, I'm leaving.
Hi everybody, this is Nightmare on Scam Street. Today I'm making a video about something quite different in the auditing field. I don't know if anybody's noticed. What I've seen recently is a shift in the way that the authorities are treating First Amendment auditors. Now, I would go back, say, 2 or 3 months, and most of the audits that were carried out were fairly well treated by, let's say, for example, the police, if it was a police station. Just recently, I've noticed that the tolerance for audits is getting much lower.
What's going on, fellas?
Don't push me.
Do not touch me. Oh, give me my phone.
You can't.
Give me my phone. I have rights to it. It's a public space. Public space. Do not walk through me. Don't grab me. Do not grab me. What are you doing? Don't touch me.
Outside.
I want my phone.
Get going. Let's go.
Wow. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Get my phone.
Get your ass outside.
Give me my shirt. Give me my phone.
Here's your phone. Go get it.
Oh! Don't touch me. Do not touch me. Why? I want my phone. I did not. I was getting my phone. Ow, my hand.
Oh, you talk shit.
Ouch.
Screw! Or you're going to jail.
Ow.
You want to go with your buddy?
No, I'm leaving.
I've seen increasing examples of auditors simply being locked out of police stations, or the police standing in the way of auditors and not allowing them in, and much more aggressive tactics by the police in dealing with auditors. Now, it must be said that some departments have learned the lesson of dealing with auditors and are in fact doing exactly the right thing at the right time. But more and more, I've seen the opposite happening. I've also seen a change in the tactics used by some auditors to get good video. I believe that there's a number of auditors out in the field who are only there to make YouTube videos and make money from them. We've had examples of these very recently with Josh Abrams. He would do anything to get video content. He's been witnessed saying on several occasions that he would deliberately get arrested just to make a video. And he actually did that at the Straight Pride Parade.
Move away. Move away. What are you doing? Move away. Move away. Move away.
He also threw Joe Luna under the bus, which made good coverage for Josh as he went on a trip to Chicago. There's other examples of recent activities by auditors that have led to them being locked up or chucked out or generally mishandled. Nearly all of these cases is because the auditor is trying to get some good coverage, some good video, to make a video that people will want to watch, something with some action in it. One of the problems they're facing, though, is that these targets are getting harder and harder to find. It's getting more and more common that they're just not getting let into police stations or courthouses, where the judges have made rules or the police station just locks the doors. It's getting more common that their access to town halls and city halls is more limited, and the places they can visit while they're there is very restricted. So they've started to look further afield. They're moving away from the hard targets, the police stations, the courthouses, the town halls, and moving on to soft targets, which is a far more sinister thing that's happening now. In the past month or so, I've noticed some groups of auditors have started visiting places that I personally would consider wholly inappropriate. There was a video just released a few days ago of a group of 3 auditors visiting a Planned Parenthood clinic. About a month ago, there was a visit to a mental health facility by a group of, I think, 4 auditors. They caused chaos. They upset patients. Several patients in this mental health facility had to be helped out into the corridor at the back of the reception area to try and calm them down because of the fuss being made by the auditors. I'm not too happy to say that both these audits were done by the same group. In both the audits, the three main people were the same people, and there were a couple of extra ones on the first audit to the mental health facility. But if you watch the video, you'll see that two of the guys at the mental health facility actually moved out of there and went around to the CPS around the corner. It doesn't look like they were very comfortable in the mental health facility, I must say, so kudos to them. It's not really surprising. I think out in that area they may be running short of viable targets, as they think of them. So they're going for the extremes to get the views. Shame. By the very nature of the facility, you'd expect the people there to be fragile or have a delicate mental state to begin with, and any disruption like this is surely going to upset them a lot. It seems to me that as the potential targets get less and less, the video-hungry auditors, that group of them that are there just to make money from their YouTube videos, are struggling to find targets to visit. So they're picking on the softer targets because they haven't been done yet. And the reason they haven't been done? Because it's morally reprehensible to do so. These targets represent the weak, the poor, the delicate, the needy. These aren't people of influence or power. These are the people that the auditors should be protecting. Picking on inappropriate targets isn't something that's limited to the West Coast. On the East Coast, Auditing America, Josh Abrams and Danielle Bognano had been out for the day shouting at the police apparently, and on the way past the subway station they noticed a homeless couple having a fight. Now it wouldn't be unfair to say that the woman was slightly intellectually challenged, and it wouldn't be unfair to say that the man was slightly inebriated. They were having the type of fights that people like this often have. However, Josh and Danielle and Anselmo decided that they needed to step in.
Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney.
Yep.
If you can't afford an attorney, one will be provided to you by the court.
Go away, pal. It's not your problem.
You're under arrest.
Okay.
You're under
okay,
arrest.
good.
Don't move.
Good.
Notify and
It's
grab
not my
the
problem.
police.
It's
You're under
not
arrest.
your problem.
You're under arrest.
Okay.
You're under arrest.
That's
Back off.
fantastic.
If you put your hands on me, I'm gonna have to detain
Well,
you.
then.
And don't think I won't. Don't think I won't.
don't care.
You're about 2 seconds from me detaining you.
Well,
Okay. So we just placed her under citizen's arrest. We were walking by. We weren't bothering anyone. And we just happened to see that lady assaulting another man with a deadly weapon.
A few moments later.
I'm gonna say a slow pace. You didn't even ask us to show you the evidence. Watch your back, bro. You didn't even ask us to show you the evidence. That's how big of a tyrant you are.
A few moments later.
Look where he can't charge anything. He's not in uniform. You should charge yourself with disorderly conduct, pig. Get in your fucking car.
you wear my badge, get in uniform.
Get in your fucking car, pig. Do your fucking job, pig. And that's why we do this, guys.
Are these people really auditing, or are they trying to make good video? They know that they're going to be met with resistance when they get there. They know they're not going to be welcome. But that makes good video, doesn't it? That's a conflict. They want to video the conflict so that the content of the video is more interesting. In a recent visit to the Worcester Police Headquarters, Joe Auger, Josh Abrams and Danielle Bognanno originally met with very little resistance from the staff there. And in fact, it was turning out to be an entirely boring video, so they had to start picking on the absolute trivial to try and make a point, to try and start an argument.
Yeah, I would say this is a violation of the First Amendment. Please refrain from the use of cell phone while conducting business at the service window. I think everyone has the right to film their business. So can we have these removed?
In order to try and gain a reaction from the female officer behind the counter, Joe Auger pointed out that the sign at the front of the counter which said, "Please refrain from use of cell phone while conducting business at this service window," was unconstitutional and should be taken down immediately. Joe went on to say that he wouldn't do the police officer's job for her, so would she come round and take the sign down. Now, this sign isn't unconstitutional in any way, shape or form. It is merely saying, please be polite. When you're dealing with the officer, pay attention to the officer, not to your phone, because people are phone blind these days. They look at the phone and a nuclear holocaust could happen around them and they simply wouldn't notice. My favourite local cafe has a sign very much like this one up against the counter, because they too have had problems with people coming in and looking at their phone and standing there while they're waiting to be served. No one takes offence at this sign. They take it in good humour, or they pay attention to it like they should do. After all, it's just common decency to pay attention to the person you're talking to. However stupid it may sound, Josh Abrams, Jacob, and Danielle Bognanno and Joel Auger cannot leave this alone. Suddenly this becomes the biggest issue in the universe, and they do everything they can to rile up the sergeant. But the sergeant's much more clever than that. He does a great job of disarming them by trying to push his attention onto Danielle, and this really upsets Josh.
I'm sorry, I can't.
We're not removing the sign.
Why? It's a violation of the First Amendment.
Okay. It's there and it's not going to be removed.
Well, it's against the Constitution.
Sir.
Did you swear an oath to the
Do you have
Constitution?
any other issues, sir?
This is a very big issue because it's the First Amendment to the Constitution.
Oh, over here too. Well, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I have a question. That gentleman that was
Well, I was
just...
talking to the young lady.
Well, now I'm talking to you. So she's...
No, I was talking to the young
Are you still
lady.
talking to him?
I mean, I was talking to you.
Well, you can't multitask? You got a gun, but you can't handle more than one task?
Did anybody ever tell you not to interrupt somebody when they're talking to somebody?
Well, I have a question for you. So are you going to answer
Saying
it?
that was okay?
The guy behind... The guy... No, you work for me. I don't work for you.
Is there something I could do for you?
This sergeant is doing an amazing job of trying to keep the situation settled, but he's also doing a great job of winding up Jacob and Joa. Every time that one of them tries to talk to him, he deflects them, hushes them, and turns back towards Danielle and starts talking to her. You can hear the wind being blown out of their sails, but at the same time you can hear them getting more and more angry.
Well, these signs are unconstitutional, so...
But a very nice young lady, by the way. You have a very nice friend here.
So the guy that's behind the desk... No, now I'm talking to you, because now you're going to... No, she's all set.
Well, the thing is, the sign is there, and I don't. Well.
Okay, can I get a freedom of information request?
No, all right.
So you guys aren't able to remove the sign even though it's really unconstitutional?
That's really not what you do. with signs.
Sir,
It's Saturday.
can I get a freedom of information request form?
Online, they go online.
Oh, no, you have them right behind you. They're right there. They're right there. They're within reach.
The young lady, and you interrupted her.
No, she's done talking. I'm talking to you now.
I think she can speak for herself.
Well, I'm speaking for myself because she's no longer speaking to. The officer that was back there at the clipboard, he's not in uniform.
Sir, you're being disorderly. You're being disorderly.
Is
You're
he
being
working
disorderly,
right-
sir.
Is he working right now?
Do you feel threatened by these two? I mean, they're so.
No.
Now I know I've used a bit of fun in this video, but you've got to realise this is really serious. I have noticed these trends. I spot trends very well. And I think that there are some people who are going to spoil it for everyone. Anyway, let's just look at Joe Walker getting arrested again, just to lighten the mood.
Oh, shit, talk shit. Ouch! Screw! Or you're going to jail! You wanna go with your buddy?
No, I'm leaving.
So there we have it. Yeah, in my opinion, auditing is changing. The reasons for auditing are changing, and the way auditing is done is changing. Be interesting to see where it goes. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. It only takes a second, doesn't cost you anything, and makes everyone happy.